Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the stage Ms. Nina Urban, Associate Director, FastForward at Johns Hopkins Technology Ventures, to moderate a discussion on biotechnology.
Should we stand in front or?
Okay, testing. Good morning. My sense is that we are getting close to the end, so thank you for lingering. And I'm very excited to be moderating this panel. So I'm currently Associate Director of Johns Hopkins' recently established FastForward, and we support startups at Johns Hopkins University just up the road in Baltimore. I founded and ran a platform biotech company based on university intellectual property, worked for the governor of Georgia and Georgia Tech, running the state technology incubator in Atlanta, testified in Annapolis on behalf of Johns Hopkins University's startup ecosystem, and been an active participant in economic development initiatives in Baltimore. I look forward to hearing from these three biotech executives and the governor of Michigan about what the U.S. has to offer foreign direct investors. So directly to my left is Duane Barnes, is president of UCB Incorporated and head of U.S. patient value operations, overseeing operational activities in the U.S. He works cross functions and across the healthcare ecosystem to improve access and find new ways to deliver value to patients. UCB is a global biopharmaceutical company focused on severe diseases that have significant unmet needs, with a team of approximately 7,500 employees and operations in nearly 40 countries. Global headquarters are in Brussels, Belgium, with US headquarters in Atlanta, Georgia. Additional US sites include clinical development in Raleigh, North Carolina, a policy office here in Washington, D.C., and research supporting UCB's pipeline in Boston, Massachusetts, and Seattle, Washington. UCB also has an office in Durham, North Carolina, as part of their acquisition of Element Genomics and a solution accelerator on the Georgia Tech campus of Atlanta.
Thank you.
And next in line, we have Bruce Heugel, is Senior Vice President, Chief Financial Officer, and member of the Board of Directors of Braun Medical, Inc., headquartered in Bethlehem, Pennsylvania. Braun Medical develops, manufactures, and markets innovative medical products and services to the healthcare industry. Their primary manufacturing facilities are located in Allentown, Pennsylvania, Irvine, California, Carrollton, Texas, and the Dominican Republic. Prior to joining Braun in 2000, Mr. Heugel spent 22 years working in 19 countries with Fortune 100 companies. Next is Mr. Lance Choi, who serves as head of CJ Corporation's biobusiness in North America. CJ Corporation is headquartered in Seoul, Korea. CJ Bio is a market leader in 4 essential amino acids in animal feed. Mr. Choi has overseen CJ Bio's sales team and manufacturing plant located in Fort Dodge, Iowa, my home state. The plant now employs approximately 300 people and is a major contributor to economic well-being in Fort Dodge. And finally, we are honored to have Governor Gretchen Whitmer. So Governor Whitmer is a lifelong Michigander. I don't say that right, I'm sure. Michigander. She was elected to the House of Representatives in 2000 and elected to the Michigan State Senate in 2006, where she served as the Senate Democratic leader. In the 2018 gubernatorial election, Governor Whitmer won all 83 counties in the primary and won the general election with 53% of the vote. Extremely exciting. Since taking her oath of office, she has put together the most diverse cabinet in Michigan's history and has signed executive directives to clean up the drinking water, end discrimination in state government based on sexual orientation and gender identity, secure equal pay for equal work, and expand opportunities for small and disadvantaged businesses. So without much more introductions, I'd like to really kick off the conversation with a question that I'd like all three company representatives to address. We can start in order here, which is to tell us a little something about your company yourself, rather than it being me, and discuss why you chose to invest in the US and how it's part of your long-term growth strategy.
Thank you, Nina.
Duane.
So, as you heard, I work for UCB. It is a global biopharmaceutical company that is headquartered in Brussels, Belgium. Our US headquarters is in Atlanta, and we have an extensive footprint here in the United States. We began operations in the 90s here in the US. Why? The question would be because it is a significantly important region if you're in biotech or biopharmaceuticals. We started with, ultimately, the original plan was to bring commercial operations and sales into the US. Since then, we've developed a strong clinical development footprint and a new medicine and new med development footprint as well. Some of that has been through acquisition and some of that has been through organic growth. But presently, we have about 1,300 employees located in the United States, represented through 8 different locations in the US. And we continue, just in the last 2 years, we have acquired 2 companies in Seattle and Boston that have enabled us to really look at a greater opportunity for new med development through research and development and innovation.
Thank you.
First of all, I want to say thank you to the Secretary for this invite. It means a lot to me. And also I want to say thank you to members of the Diplomatic Corps. I met many of them the last few days, and they're very professional and do an outstanding job. I've been working globally for 40 years, and I have to say honestly, this is the period of the most optimism I've ever seen and witnessed in my career. I tell you, there's so many optimistic executives, and it's not just the C-suite, it's not just the boardrooms, but it's on the shop floor. So I want to say, thank you to the administration and thank you to the Secretary for all that work. 3 years ago, I was asked to testify in the Senate Finance Committee in Washington, and I did that, and I remember holding up charts. And because I'm a CPA by trade, I'm interested in taxes. And I held up a chart and said, United States, you got to lower your taxes. Your corporate tax rate is not competitive. Well, this administration didn't take very long time, and they've lowered those corporate tax rates by 40%, and now we're world-class competitive. So I just want to say thank you on our behalf of our company. What did we do with that money? We gave it to our employees. We invested in research and development, capital equipment, made new products. So that's what we did with that money. Braun is from the 1830s, 180-year-old company, still family held. We're not on the New York Stock Exchange. We're based in North Hessen, Germany. For you international folks, that's north of Frankfurt. And all those good values that you think of when you think of a good German company, we have those values. We over-engineer our products. Our products in medicine, we're in medical and pharma, are over-engineered, high quality, very safe, very safe. We support our workers, we support our communities, and we support the environment. So all those good values we took back to the United States, and Professor Ludwig Georg Braun took a chance on the United States in 1977. He didn't want to be an exporter, didn't want to have a sales office, didn't want to have a distribution office. He said, I want to have a manufacturing facility. He started it in Bethlehem. That business has grown from 313 employees and 6 million to over 7,000 North American workers and sales of over $2 billion. Truly a success story. And then when people say, well, how many jobs were lost in Germany? How many jobs were lost in France? You just transferred some of the jobs, and I can honestly say 0 jobs were lost. In fact, because now we have contracts with our IDNs, with our distributors, with our GPOs, and we now know the U.S. medical industry, we're able to actually bring in other products. And so 80% of our products are made in the United States, and we only import 20%.
I just wanted to clarify that you sort of you underscored the corporate tax rate as being
Yes.
primary in terms of your incentive? So in 1970s, there was a low corporate tax rate that catalyzed this investment, or?
No, I just mentioned it as a, thank you for the administration to lowering the tax rates.
The most recent
And then
developments. But in terms of like your, why you invested in the U.S., It sounds like in the 1970s that was a...
Well, a couple of reasons. Good point on, the investment. We've invested because of the success story. We also invested because the Americans love their medicine. The statistics are that the Americans pay on medicine $3.2 trillion. So the market is here. The next largest country pays, $500 billion. Next country, $400 billion. Next country, $300 billion. In fact, there's so much wealth here and interest in technology and medicine, so you have to be here. And that's why Braun chose to be here. And in fact, if you add up the next 9 countries, the total investment is only 75% of what the Americans pay in healthcare.
Thank you very much. And we're thrilled with your enthusiasm and your long-term commitment. We'll just hear from the next.
Hello, I'm from CJ. CJ Bio is a part of a global CJ group. And the CJ group has 4 different main business areas: bio, food, entertainment, media, and logistics. And we have annual sales globally $35 million. And our main target area is United States. We want to grow our business in the United States a lot. And currently we have 13,000 employees in the 47 different states. But we want to have additional 4,000 of employees during next 2 years. And we're gonna invest additional $2 billion into US.
Wow.
Yeah, that's our target.
And I just learned from Lance that not only does he oversee what happens in the US, but also Canada and Mexico. And I'd like to, after I have a question for the governor, I'd like to loop back and maybe you could elucidate some of the differences between those experiences. So a slightly different twist for Governor Whitmer. If you could just introduce your state of Michigan briefly and talk a little bit about what your ideas are around investment and direct foreign investment.
Certainly. So I'm grateful to be here and on this wonderful panel. I think that this is an important opportunity for Michigan to show the world what we are doing in the biomedical field, because people have a tendency to think about Michigan and automotive, which is legitimate because we do have so much innovation and advanced manufacturing and research and development happening in the automotive space, where we continue to lead and created the middle class. But we also have this rich history on the biomedical that a lot of people don't appreciate, with this phenomenal college and university system that we have, and research universities from the University of Michigan to Wayne State to Michigan State. But we've got this rich history for over 150 years in the biomedical space. Park Davis was located in Detroit, and the discovery of new medications happened in Michigan. AZT, the first treatment for HIV/AIDS, was discovered at Wayne State University in Detroit. The leading chemotherapy drug, cisplatin, was discovered at Michigan State University. And Xanax, the anti-anxiety medication, at the Upjohn company in Kalamazoo. So we've got this rich history, and we continue to, I think, have this concentration of talent and research that is happening in the state of Michigan that we're incredibly proud of and always eager to expand upon. This synergy I think, makes us a state that is ripe for continued leadership on all of these fronts, and a place where business can come and grow with our MEDC, a lot of the phenomenal programs that we have in place for business to assess the ability to succeed in our state, but also to grow. And that's something that we're incredibly proud of, and we're going to continue to lead on and make Michigan a place where people come in and invest in and grow.
Thank you. Very interesting. Well, of course, two topics that were just touched on in terms of incentives, and as well as the university entrepreneurship ecosystem, which is something that I particularly focus on. Maybe we could wrap around again and talk a little bit starting with Duane, about maybe the relevance of the university and entrepreneurial ecosystems. And then also feel free to expand into sort of state or regional incentives.
Yeah, so we have expanded, as I said, our footprint in the U.S., and it's been largely around research and development and innovation. Why is that? Because when you look at the ecosystems in the U.S., we have significant talent, we have significant research institutions, and we have actually hubs in the U.S. that are very vibrant, and there's a lot of strong talent in those hubs. And so we are in Research Triangle Park and Raleigh-Durham area. We have a global clinical development site there. I'll give you a number just in terms of innovation and R&D. We actually, 1 out of every 5 employees in our company is focused on research and development. 25 cents of every dollar that we make, and our revenues are north of $5.5 billion US. Globally, and the U.S. is a significant portion of that. 25 cents of every dollar of revenue that we make is reinvested back into research and development, and that isn't just over the last year. That's a number where you're looking back over the last 5 or 6 years as a run rate. And so we have relationships with the Innovation Lab at Georgia Tech. We've done a lot of work specifically in neurology around identifying opportunities through AI and machine learning to understand subpopulations of patients and what medications might be the best for them to go to first. And the reason for that is because the patient value principles is really what the bedrock of our organization. And that idea is for us to go from development to delivery of a drug, we need to make sure that we have patient insights that enable our science to go after the right sort of solutions. And as a result of that, we have benefited from working with Georgia Tech, working with Duke and other universities in the Research Triangle Park and Raleigh-Durham area. We actually acquired a company in the last 2 years, the Element Genomics, that is the spinoff from Duke. And we also are in the Cambridge and Boston area and Pacific Northwest and Seattle. So the idea is really to go where there's collaboration, where there's innovation, where there's talent, and find those and leverage those. And at the same time, we realize other people are doing that, and there's a lot of competition. So we have to present a unique proposition to people and institutions in terms of what we're looking at, what we're studying, the way we treat our patient employees, and the way that we focus on specific patient populations.
Thank you.
I would just only comment that most of the leading educational institutions in the United States have hospitals that they partner with. So they have different hospital systems, and they're all our customers. So we work with them. We have contracts with them to provide all the services that they need in products. So that's really how we try to partner with education, is in their hospitals.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. And Lance.
Yeah, I'm from a little bit different area. Most of people, they think bio means like medical or pharmaceutical, but I'm from industrial biotech area. So, US is the kind of heartland of all the new technology, including biotechnology and all the IT. So we have a relationship, and we have working with some companies in East Coast and the West Coast to develop new technology together. That's great chance for CJ also.
And just as I'm thinking that while the centers are highly productive, there is a bit of a diaspora of folks, and that includes through the Midwest and the South. And so to the extent that Governor Whitmer, you're thinking about workforce development or finding nice landing spots for those opportunities.
Well, absolutely. I think that, I highlighted our university system and how that's contributed to some of the discoveries and innovations that have happened in the state of Michigan. There are wonderful companies like the Stryker company, which as we think about R&D and innovation around devices and biotechnology, there's some wonderful work that is continuing to happen in the state of Michigan. But I think ensuring that we've got the workforce that has, the skills, something that as a leader of a state, we're acutely focused on ensuring that there are paths for everyone, because there is, I think, prosperity and integrity in work in various fields. But this particular part of our economy is an incredibly important to our future, to our ability to compete, and it's one in which the Michigan Economic Development Corporation is honing in and developing the infrastructure so that companies can quickly assess what synergy is happening and how we can continue to spin off and develop products in Michigan. And that's something that I think is incredibly important. We have this wonderful concentration of engineers in the state of Michigan. We are making use of this great private-public opportunity and relationships that we've been really focusing on building, and it's something that we're going to continue to do that.
Terrific, thank you. And just to play on some specifics, I'll break our pattern and go to Lance, and to the extent that you might shed light on doing business in the US versus Canada or Mexico, and of course the others can contribute perspectives as well, but just to sort of focus in on what makes the US easy or hard.
Yeah, actually, we are manufacturing essential amino acids in the United States, and we covering the market, including Canada and Mexico. But we are manufacturing, essential amino acids with industrial mass microbial fermentation. So we have to have a sugar source, and Midwest is a great place to source all the sugar source, and the corn is the main product from the Midwest. So we have to have that. And we can't find that kind of a good sugar source from Canada and Mexico. That's the reason why we're located in the Midwest.
Okay, we'll take that.
Yeah.
And Bruce?
I really don't have much comments that the United States is complex in medicine. So it's not easier to do business in the United States than other countries. We have to be honest with that. But it's a way of how you approach that complexity. And so the complexity is there, but you have expertise and knowledge, and you pay maybe a little bit more money to ensure you have proper litigation control, you proper understand the tax environment or the FDA regulatory environment. So the U.S. is very, very complex, but you can work around that by being here, have people here, knowledgeable experts, so it no longer becomes a burden or a hurdle.
It seems dynamic of late, particularly. Maybe you could comment on that further, Duane.
Well, I would say first, when you think about the size of the U.S. and the healthcare system that we have, the healthcare system is very complex, but in many ways, it enables people and patients to get on therapies and medicines. So we have large patient populations in the U.S. We have great opportunities to initiate trials with patients in the U.S. because the access to them is favorable. Based upon certain policies, there are challenges today with folks being able to get on the medicines they need. And the medicines that we deal with from an immunological and neurological and bone health disease states are therapies that are disease modifying. They're not there to just provide comfort, but they're there to enhance life, create wellness, and modify the disease. And because of that, we find it very essential for us to be able to be in a market where we have specific patient populations that enable us to gain insights from those patients and develop more knowledge around how to treat patients appropriately. Today's policies, there are some that we're concerned about, but I would say from a policy perspective, we look at the opportunity to enhance innovation. We look at the opportunity to focus on volume, not focus on volume, but focus on value. And to the governor's state, there's a physician at Michigan, Mark Fenrick, who actually has a model called the value-based insurance design. And the idea of that model is to ensure that a patient isn't harmed or prevented from getting on more expensive therapies because their biology requires it, but they can't afford it. So we believe in patient affordability. We believe in models that demonstrate the drug works for patients, and where it works for patients, and where it doesn't work for patients, they should be able to move to the next one without hurdles and challenges through the payer system. I also comment, my father, who's not with us anymore, is a undergrad of Wayne State and a graduate of Michigan, both engineering degrees. So when you said engineering, I thought I'd just comment on that.
So I think we've got a good picture of the current commitments, the initial reasons and the current commitments. We're hearing sugar, hospitals, and patients here. But what I'd love to explore a little bit more with all four of you is your future plans, and whether you'll continue on the same trajectory or pivot or take some different directions. And I know this is all just best guesses at this point. So maybe we'll start back with you and
With me?
switch it up. Yes, keep talking.
I'm so fortunate. We certainly find every reason for us to continue to compete intensely in the United States. We look at the policy and legislative issues that are occurring right now, much resulting from the blueprint, and analyze the impact on our business and our 10-year strategic plan. And I can't really comment on that because I don't know what's going to happen in June, July, September, and October. But every month I'm looking at what's going on here and what could that impact be to our business. Irrespective of that impact, we're going to continue to serve the patients in the United States with great energy and excitement. We hope to continue to grow our footprint. We have economic investments presently at about $430 million a year in the U.S., and we look at the opportunities because of the talent, as I said earlier, because of the talent, because of the research institutions and hospitals, because of innovation and the ability to collaborate, that this is a ripe and robust geography and region to participate in. We hope that some of the policies, any change in legislation or policy would not hamper the ability for us to continue to grow.
Thank you. Bruce.
Anita, that's a good question. You know, what the future is going to be. Well, what we're trying to do is really link closely with our customers, which is American healthcare, all the hospitals, we sell to them all. And one of the things we've seen that they're trying to capture economies of scale, and they're buying out each other. I mean, you all remember hospitals, there were a lot more of them. Now they are merging together and buying out. So as a result, we have to partner with them and be able to offer the proper products to them as they grow in size. And so that's very close. And in addition, as I mentioned, because the healthcare spending is high in the United States, there's a lot of wealth, but there's a lot of pressure to have more competitive costs. So we're partnering with all these hospitals to make sure our products are very safe, yet at a proper value. And I think that trend's going to continue for a long time.
Excellent. Lance.
Yeah, our short-term goal is to add more product line in the United States. Right now, we are manufacturing human nutrition and animal nutrition product, and we want to add the animal nutrition product first, because right now, African swine fever is a huge issue for the American farmers. And still, American farmers using much imported product. So we want to replace all the imported product with our made in USA product. So that's our short-term goal. And every product is like commoditized. So we want to go to the value-added product and the service market. We want to focus on the human nutrition side more. That's our long-term goal. And there is a new technology, like kind of genetic evaluation and all the like AI technology. So everybody can use those kind of technology to build a smart factory. So we are thinking about to go to personalized nutrition area.
Terrific. Thank you.
Well, I've been governor for 6 months, and I was fortunate enough to inherit some wonderful things, a great biotechnology sector that represents $20 billion economic investment annually in my state. We boast being the home of companies like Stryker and Neogen and Pfizer, and we're incredibly proud of that history and the growth that's happened in the sector recently. The Michigan Economic Development Corporation, I think I would put it up against any of the other 49 states as an agency that is devoted to expanding on the strengths that we have and pulling more investment into the state of Michigan. And so we're going to keep our foot on the gas on those areas. But I'll recognize too that, not everything I inherited is perfect. And so there are areas that I am focusing energy on to make sure that we continue to have the best skilled workforce around, creating opportunities for adults to upskill and for graduates of high school to move into an affordable path into the four-year research institutions that we've got phenomenal ones that we boast in Michigan, as well as two-year degrees, which we know in all of these industries, we need people with skills on all of those fronts. So really boosting and shoring up this concentration of talent that's been a hallmark of the state of Michigan is, I think, the challenge and the opportunity on the horizon as we continue to make Michigan a place where investment comes to and people make their lives in. It's a phenomenal state. Of course, I'm biased, but we are home to 21% of the world's fresh water is in and around the state of Michigan. Incredible biodiversity in the agricultural sector, and that's why I think we've had such successes around innovating in vaccines and medical devices, and they have agricultural impact as well as on people. So this is something that I think is a wonderful opportunity for us as a state, and one that I hope anyone here is paying attention to, because I think that Michigan's a wonderful place for growth.
Terrific. Well, at this point, I'd like to thank all the panelists. I've learned a lot and met some interesting folks, and I hope you have enjoyed it as well, and we'll move on with the day.